well, this is going to put me on.
I'm sorry. It's okay, Jared. You can peace off.
No, I'll be on for a few seconds. That's fine. So we're recording. Luca, leave it on for a little bit. Then we can get a noise print of what that sound is. And then we'll be able to reduce it when we ship the audio. But then for the rest of the show, you want to mute yourself in Riverside when you're not talking. That way it's not distracting everybody for the live show. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, Chris, I haven't heard from you. Let's make sure you sound good.
Hi.
Yeah, you sound great.
Chris, you always sound very low.
Yeah, you do sound low.
And I think it's also because I'm loud and Matteo's loud. So
we are very loud. We are very loud people.
We are. I'm proud. I'm very proud. Loud and proud, you know?
Yeah.
I'm loud and proud. But no, Chris, if you could like loud it up, that would be great.
Okay.
Loud it up.
Is this all right?
Like a hype man. Loud it up.
Your volume is great.
You're just loud it up.
I'm okay.
Yeah, man.
I just got to remember to be near this.
Yeah, I need to read this blog post, y'all, because it just came out. I need a minute.
So, is everybody cool with recording on QuickTime on their local machine, or if you have Audacity or something, just in case Riverside?
Yeah, I already gave them instructions.
Okay, you guys are good on that. All right, I will hop out. You're already live on YouTube.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you for hopping in. I appreciate it.
And have fun. You got 70 minutes before he's got to hop off, so you should be good.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be good.
Bye, y'all.
Okay. All right, everyone. Sorry, Matteo, I just need can you just maybe summarize the blog post for me? Or you can just give me a minute to read it.
I can give you a very quick elevator pitch about it. So 2 minutes, 1 minute. Mm-hmm. Biggest thing is Platformatic is a new company. We announced it a couple of weeks ago. We are now launching our first tool. We have been working on this for a few months now. It was a little bit cautious and secret. We are now opening it up to the.
I didn't even know about it. I know shit. So yes.
to the public, it's a tool that allow developers to quickly build APIs on top of SQL databases. Yeah. However, you don't those tools typically have problems is in when the features and the business and the business logic become complex and you need to implement custom stuff. Okay, on top, and
so it supports the custom stuff via Fastify
completely.
Plugins,
yes, exactly. Okay, so you can just load any Fastify plugin in there. It also does some really fancy stuff about ESM loading and isolates and a lot of.
We'll talk about all that shit. We'll talk about it on the show. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Luca, you're good. Bueno. How do you say good in Italian?
Bene. Tutto bene. O buono.
Bene?
Bene o buono, depending on the context.
Bene, okay. My dad actually went to school in Italy, and my whole dad's family is fluent in Italian. Shame on me. I'm Somali. That's why, Somalis speak Italian. You guys know that. Okay. All right. So I think we're live on the internet. Chris, can you just holler in Slack and let people know and just confirm that we're on the internet, and then I can start the show.
You want me to ask the channel if we're on the internet?
Luca, can you show me? Can you make sure I pronounce your last name correctly?
Maraschi.
Maraschi.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in any way, it's fine, and nobody can pronounce it. So.
No, Maraschi.
Yeah, that's correct.
Maraschi.
That's perfect.
Maraschi. I only have to say it once. So Luca Maraschi, Matteo Collina. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Are we good on the internets, Chris?
You asked me to ask in the channel. Which channel? Yes. In the main JS Party channel?
Or the panel channel. I don't really care. I just want to make sure we're okay, and then I can start the show. And then if you could ping the Slack channel to let them know we're live, that would be great.
Well, I mean, Jared already pinged the channel to say.
Oh, he already did? Then we're good. Yeah. Perfect. I'm sorry. I'm not on Slack. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We can start. Sorry. Did I just ruin it? Hello, JS Party listeners. We are so excited to be back with you this week. We have a super hot off the presses show. Like this announcement just got dropped literally like less than an hour ago. I haven't even finished reading the blog post, but that's okay. But we're here to kind of announce and kind of usher into the world a new baby that's like open source from the Node community. It's called Platformatic. We're here with the founders, creators today. And before we meet them, I've got on the panel with me today is Chris Hiller. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Hi. You always make me laugh. Like, don't distract me. We have a tight show today, so I have to stay focused. Okay, no distractions. So Chris, hello, Chris.
Hi.
Hi.
I'll try not
Okay.
to. I'll try not to screw things up for you.
Thanks.
Okay.
And on the show today to introduce their new project, Platformatic, are Matteo Collina. Hello, Matteo.
Hi, Amal. Hi, Chris. So
Hi.
glad, so glad to be
Hi.
back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And Luca Maraschi. Luca Maraschi.
Maraschi, but it's perfect.
Mara,
Yeah, hey
Maraschi.
everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Yo.
We're so excited to have you both today. So, Matteo, like it's so funny. Like I have not talked to you since the last time you were on this show. And so today's show is going to be kind of a mix of like me catching up with what's been going on in Matteo's life, because a lot seems to have changed since he was last on the show. And we're also going to learn about his new project. And what's really great is like Luca's someone who, as well as like in my wider friends circle, we have a lot of very close mutual friends, and Luca and I have been like, we've like had this friendship that was supposed to get started a few years ago and it never happened. So now like this is like hopefully the beginning of that friendship. So hopefully informal show, we're learning about their new project. And before we get into Platformatic, Matteo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and same thing for you, Luca?
So let's. I don't know where to start. Let's see. Let's remember what I said last time in the show. So if you don't, the previous part, it's on the previous show. So you go and watch and listen to that one. No, I'm joking. I've been I've been coding for more than 30 years. I have been doing Node since 2010, 2011, putting Node in production since then. Part of the Node collaborators group since 2015. After a few years, got into the Node.js Technical Steering Committee. Kept working,
Yeah.
maintaining Node.js. At the meanwhile, I started a new project called Fastify, which we talked at maybe one of the shows at some point probably, and which is a web framework for Node that is getting some traction lately. So it's great. It works very well. It's super battle tested for high production usage of Node.js. And for the last 8 years and a half, I've been in professional services. I work for a company called Nearform. This is where I actually, when I was working at Nearform, this is actually where I met Luca. And he has been, we have been colleagues for a bit. Then we both had kids in 2020, which is
The world's greatest year. The most fantastical year of the most fantastical century. Yes.
And yes, and then what else? We kept in touch after he left Nearform a few years back. He will tell, and then we kept in touch. And in mid-June, I've left Nearform, and I have jumped into this new adventure with Luca, Platformatic, and you can. We have been keeping it hush for a couple of months because we need a little bit of time to actually develop something to announce to the world.
Yeah.
And
no vaporware. You should. That's like the opposite of most developers, though, because like most developers, their first thing is like they buy the URL, then they make the like vaporware announcement on like the internet, then they go build the tool, then they kind of like get demotivated halfway through, and then it just fizzles out. Like I'm so impressed at people who manage to like get to the end and actually launch something, but then I'm also amazed at people who launch something in secret. Like I didn't even know about this. And Matteo, we have so many close mutual friends. And granted, like I've been living under a rock for the past few months too, but like I'm just like, whoa, I heard about this morning from Jared and I was like, this is hot stuff. Like can't wait to hear about it and also catch up with Matteo. And then Luca, I had no idea that you went to Nearform. I like missed that. That's so cool that y'all had a little bit of overlap at Nearform because Nearform is a really like fascinating company for those of you who might not be familiar. Like, if anyone is out there looking for like node consultants, like node contractors, like people who understand how to build node services at scale, go to Nearform. Like they're deep experts in JavaScript, they're deep experts in scale and distributed systems and like how to cleanly like scale your architecture. Like they're incredible engineers.
Oh, I love
They
my
also
previous
they do a
company.
lot for the community as well. Yeah, huge open source element to their work as well. So that's kind of the roots that Mateo's coming from. And I guess it's great to hear, Luca, that you had some of that. So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Luca?
Yeah, I also started very early coding. I still remember the first time, but I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and so I kind of blended my passion for computers with the passion for building businesses and making impactful products. So I
Yeah.
started when I was very young, at 12 years old, and I built along the way a few companies that I was able to sell, and I went through this cycle of learning something new and applying to business. In 2010, 14, something like that, I met Matteo, or 15, I met Matteo in the backstage of Node Summit. And
Whoa.
yeah, basically in 2016, I was in front of a big decision to switch from, moving to a large company or join Nearform. And I still remember Kian in the castle in Ireland kind of like convincing me to join Nearform. And so it took just a few months, and I joined Nearform mostly because I was excited to, work with people like Matteo, our other very close friend Dave, at the time Peter. So I was very excited about all these people, and I said, "Well, it's a great opportunity." So Matteo and I started traveling a little bit around the world for a couple of years, and in 2017 I moved to Canada. Well, not I moved to Canada. Sorry, I visited Canada, and then I decided to stay in Canada. Where
You
I moved.
remember when we were all in Canada, Amal? I think you kind of
Yeah, no, I was there. Yeah, I was
you
there.
Luca then stayed there.
Yeah, no, we hung out. It was a really fun time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
was
met
It
there.
through
was.
Ahmed.
Yeah,
That was the
Ahmed was
common
one of
denominator.
our biggest mutuals. Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically, long story short, um, I moved to work again for large corps like Thales, following the path of Ahmed, and then back into startups and doing some
CTO work.
consultancy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
so
so cool.
basically, it was actually natural. Matteo and I kept in touch for such a long time. We were so close, and we have been thinking about this idea for way so long, too long. And so basically, in the beginning of the year, we kind of like gather all our thoughts together, and here we are a few months later, kind of like making of a small side project and crazy idea that we were
Yeah.
building just in our minds. It was all in our minds. There was nothing really, solid.
Yeah.
We talked and said, well, it could be nice one day to build a company, and then
We can call it mozzarella
finally,
JS or pizza
yeah,
JS or what, I don't
Pizza
know. Like,
JS.
so, okay. So honestly though, I'm just fascinated that like you both are Italians in tech from the Node community, have both had like really prolific and very successful careers, like, independently. And you're now you're forming a union around this company and this project. Like, I think that's so cool. And you're like, Matteo, you're like an Italian that's still living in Italy. And
Yeah.
then Luca is like an Italian that's like, globe hopping and is currently based in Canada. Like that's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So like, what, so can you tell us a little bit about Platformatic? What is it? What inspired it? What problems is it uniquely solving? Like, give us all the things.
I have been a backend
go
engineer
Matteo.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I've been a
Oh,
backend
if you want, I
engineer
go,
for.
you go. It's like
It's
we're
fine.
jamming completely.
It's we can. I will start mid phrase and you finish it. Okay. Let's do that.
Good, let's do that.
Okay,
let's start.
cool. Editors will cut this out, so no worries. So we can
Uh,
start over. Let's just start over.
I've been doing building backend system for all of my career. I have been and I've been and to be honest, it has always been a more or less a disaster. You know, building it's actually very ugly building backend systems. Okay, it requires a lot of sweating, a lot of hard work, a lot of to some extent some sweating, because if you don't sweating, you know, so you're sweating and then you're also sweating because from time to time it's the computer reacts better if you start insulting it. I
Yeah.
really like insulting my computer in Italian from time every
Ma
now and then.
vaffanculo. Oh, actually, that might.
I don't know.
That probably needs to be. That's probably gonna get censored out. But okay. Yeah. Go on.
Beep. And it's
Because it's in Italian doesn't mean it's not a curse word.
it's right. It's so basically, and it's been. And then when I was become a consultant, I helped teams deliver software and building backend system, and
Yeah.
I saw all the problems that they were facing, and this is what has prompted me to create Fastify and create a lot of the libraries that a lot of people now are using to build those systems. The next step for me was I started thinking, well, how can I increase my impact? How can I help more people? How can I improve more? And it seemed natural to build a company around this dream. Okay, it seemed the next step, mainly because after being so much in consulting, I really wanted to build a product now and use what I've learned to build something new. So
Yeah.
it's that was essentially the gist of why Platformatic and why now. Why now? It's because of other things, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So I just kind of want to share something really insightful here. Actually, one of our other mutual friends, Jory Burson, is the person who I heard this from. Her and I were having a conversation about this. So I worked at a place called Boku a long time ago. That's like this kind of famous web platform consultancy, you know, like other experts in JavaScript, but we were kind of more everything above the API. More so, we did a lot of stuff full stack as well when, you know, with Node, but yeah, and Electron. But I would say that, you know, a lot of like what Boku is famous for is like, you know, a deep expertise of like the web platform, right? And so interesting kind of echo to near form, just like on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And so but anyway, so Jory was like CEO of Boku for a while, and interestingly, she kind of, her and I were talking about this this pattern of like once you're in consulting, a lot of consultants end up starting successful businesses after they've been in the game for a while because they see patterns. You know, you see patterns like the same problems at different companies, just different flavors of the problem. And it's so interesting because I'm seeing this now, just like I'm at a point in my career where, like, you know, I have enough experience where I've seen like multiple phases of, you know, web technologies, and also like I've worked at enough companies where I see every company's kind of having the same problem in a different flavor, right? And so it's interesting to see like how your consultancy, like being a consultant in the Node space and API space for such a long time, like, you know, you were able to kind of see this the needs and the gaps in the tooling and the process, you know. So so how does Platformatic like uniquely solve how does it uniquely fill in the gaps in the white space that's in the community right now?
Yeah, maybe I can tell you something. Is about the pattern, right? So what we Matteo and I observed is that there was some sort of like gap in between different kind of like successful stories on the market. And if on one side we saw the front end being enormously accelerated and commoditized on a certain sense, and in a perfect reaction to what happened to infrastructure with the cloud and different you know, initiatives like, you know, we all know about for example, Terraform has been revolutionary in
Yeah.
changing the world of infrastructure. We're exactly sitting in the middle where most of our experience in building for clients and for our own companies when I was, for example, at Talos, building a platform that would accelerate the day-to-day job of developers, making their life not a repetitive task, but in transforming what was seen before as a repetitive task to some sort of innovation. And for us, the most important thing was the social impact of that change, the fact that it could actually catalyze new ideas, right? And so when we spoke on the ideal world, what we were looking on the market, we were basically looking on some sort of like experience that would put building backends on some sort of rails and focus on building the best train in the world and not just the best set of rails in the world, because we wanted to have we wanted to provide to our users, being first ourselves, right, the consumer, something that could facilitate and accelerate building APIs. Like for example, and today we just released this first bit. How can we actually commoditize building APIs on top of databases, right? How many
yeah.
times I've been like going through my gist and my toolbox to look which library shall I use to connect to Postgres, and how can I actually structure that, and so on and so forth, right? And transforming all this kind of repetitive tasks, not really mechanical task, because that would still imply a lot of work, but in something that would basically be an out-of-the-box experience for people. And so we imagine this ecosystem, right, the digital platform world, to be a puzzle, to be, as you can see there, I'm very passionate about Lego, and luckily you don't see that side, but I am completely like bought into the Lego mentality, right? We have all this kind of pre-made sets, but fantasy is just the only limit that you have. And so the same thing is for Platformatic. We want to give the tools and the building blocks to build whatever people want to build, but having the constraints of 4x2 blocks, right? The most famous.
Yeah, no, I think that is so cool. Like I love, so first of all, like I love this, this idea of you're not interested in just building the rails, because I definitely think you're absolutely right. That's kind of has been the focus for us for a long time. Like everyone's focused on let's build the rails, and everybody builds their own train. But like guess what? Trains are like 95% the same. Like everything, you need
Right.
an engine, you need a core, you need a this, you need seats, da 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 da, right? Like so it's like I love this idea of like, okay, how can we, like what did you say, how, like what kind of innovation can come out of people having more time to focus on the business
Correct.
logic and the interesting parts of their applications, right? Like all this other stuff is busy work, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, for me, I feel like a challenge that I've hit is like in the past, and I've seen this, at multiple places now, is like this not invented here kind of syndrome that we have, right? Like engineers want to reinvent the wheel because I don't know. I have no idea. It's not a personal value of mine, so I have a hard time relating to folks who want to reinvent the wheel for like a 1% difference in API interface. Like, oh, they use strings instead of integers or something. I have no idea. Like, it's like for 1 or 2% difference, you're gonna reinvent the wheel completely because you're not happy with this thing's interface. Like, why? I don't know, but it's a real problem. Like, how do you fight that problem of people wanting to do it like their way?
Yeah, and there's also the other kind of like effect in enterprise, for example, the space where we kind of operated the most is that it's just that the enterprise has different type of needs than the startup developer, for example, or the independent developer. The enterprise has really the need of having those kind of like predefined also structures that they can work within, the so-called best practices, right? And so we actually felt that especially in the node space, Matteo extensively, and myself too in the architecture side, we have been actually kind of like every time trying to redefine those best practices, bringing them from the outside to the inside, So with Platformatic, we just want to standardize those best practices and say, well,
Oh,
we bring
wow. That is so cool.
the best value of open source, the best value that we are generating in this century, that is the community work, the collective work, into a space where we actually create an harmonized way to distribute those best practices into some sort of like predefined starter kits, predefined libraries, and we give you actually kind of like the space not to start a contention or a discussion around the same topics, but an evolution-based discussion, and say, how can you make it better, right? We give you we give you, like in music, you give the first note to set the tone, and the same we are giving with Platformatic. We want to set the stage and say, this is how we, from our expertise and the community, see this particular problem being resolved and being commoditized in a set of tools. Now,
Yeah.
if you wanted to contribute, it's all open. Please
Right.
help us make it better.
That's so cool. I love this bold bet of like elevating and setting standards, and like that's such a Matteo thing to do, like is to just like say, here you go, it's done now, problem solved, like
Yeah.
bold bet. I can totally see that, and like that's like so cool. But anywho, I'm eager to hear from Chris.
Look. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. So can you kind of what did you release today? No, it's called like Platformatic DB, but what does it do?
Okay, so it does a few things. So at the outside, what you can scratch from the reading the getting started. Okay, it reads up your database schema, and it creates a REST API with Open API definition, as well as a GraphQL API on top of your schema. So that's the simple or easy part of it. It supports relations. It supports the relations and a few other bits. It also does migrations. It does logging. It does what you would expect from a daemon. This is
Is it a like a code generator or no?
No, it just runs. So the difference, here is what we wanted, okay? We believe that the best line of code is the one that you don't have to write. So if you need a code generator, we are essentially implying that you will need to maintain that code. We don't want, we want to minimize friction. We want to remove the problem, okay? So it's
Hashtag just do it. Hashtag it just works. Hashtag
just works.
The right kind of magic, I'm certain things I'm okay with being magic. Like, it's like I don't need to see the boilerplate. Like, you're welcome to hide that or abstract that. Like, I don't need to maintain it. I don't need to see it either. Like, that's beautiful. Love that.
Pretty much my take, because if I needed to generate stuff, it will require even I've tried different things of this kind. There is a catch though, and it is why the code generators are somewhat popular in the industry. It's because those code generators enable people to deeply customize the behavior that they need. And this is why they are so powerful, okay? How do we cater for that case in Platformatic? Well, in Platformatic DB, what we do is we enable you to completely customize our server using Fastify plugins. So I've talked about Fastify before. Fastify is these more or less 3 million downloads a month web framework for Node.js. It's probably right now. It's probably the best. I'm the author, lead maintainer of that, so I can probably boast a little bit. It's probably the best way to write servers in Node these days. It has, I think, 17, 18 collaborators maintaining it now. Like it's every single release, it has 20 different people, commits from 20 different people, 10 of which are first-time contributors, like something
so
like that.
cool.
It has amazing stats. So that's battle tested, and you can use that battle tested framework to actually completely customize Platformatic DB. In fact, Platformatic DB is just built as a set of Fastify plugins. So you can, if you want those features and you have an existing Fastify application, you can just use our Fastify plugins and get the same functionality yourself without needing to, you can just directly jump into the advanced case, okay? And essentially completely write the stuff yourself. On top of that, it has a few more interesting things. It has a development environment embedded. It does hot reload of Node.js modules, okay, and yay. So next, I'm hearing that I need to talk about this feature later. So
yes. I'm like, Matteo, let's save this for the second segment. I want to dig into
Okay.
all this and more. This is so cool though. Oh my God. All right. So I'm gonna I don't know. I need a minute to even just like contain my excitement, but we will be right back, y'all. All right, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to like save that discussion for after the break because like it's like a whole thing. Also like, whoa, that is so freaking cool. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna jump right back in because I know we don't have
Yeah.
a ton of time. Or anybody need a break or water or
No, I'm
stretch
good. I just need to.
good.
I'm just drinking some water.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, I will bring us back in. Okay, everyone. So, had a minute to kind of freak out offline. We're back, and this is amazing. So Matteo, I'm eager to hear about all of this, and I love this concept of like boilerplate is popular because boilerplate lets you take the custom code, which is the hot path for most people, but then it lets you edit that code to like customize it and whatever. And you're like, okay, well, how about we use a plugin architecture so that we can actually abstract away that boilerplate hot path, but then enable that extensibility through a clean kind of plugin interface. Like that is freaking genius. But in many ways, it's also kind of the core principle and architecture behind Fastify, which is what we talked about last time you were on the show. We had a show on Fastify and Pinot. Totally awesome, worth a listen. We'll link it in the show notes. But yeah, can you just jump back in there and talk us through that?
So it's the plugin architectures enable us to cater for the complex part of your application. So you can write your custom business logic, add your custom routes, add your custom resolvers, or even, I don't know, would you want to add Next.js into the system? Yeah, you can throw the Fastify Next.js plugin and it will work. Okay, so the idea is that you can completely customize how the daemon is, how that server is running. It also, as I said, it also provides some level of developer experience dash live reload on it. So you can just edit your files and it will automatically reload them and run them inside and load them as Fastify plugins. It's actually pretty neat. This is a problem that if some of you have been in the Node community, is actually a hard problem because I also support ESM, and this is stuff. And I'm so sorry. Now I think for Chris' face, it's a little bit skeptical on how that would work, but it actually does.
Oh my God! Did you say sane ESM experiences in Node? Oh my God!
Yeah, seamless. Seamless.
That's a heavy promise.
It's completely seamless. You just load it up, and it will.
How about if I add different packages from like different npm libs, like
it's fine.
That are like
everything is loaded
in different module formats?
It's fine.
All good and supported.
Yeah, because
Seriously?
it just uses Node. It just uses Node. So you have all the same rules for Node, but what we do is that we have hot reloading of all of this. So even if some dependency changes and stuff, it gets hot reloaded in code via V8 isolates. So there is a little bit of C++ in there, stuff, really fun stuff. And I need to, by the way, I did not invent most of this stuff, or most of the key fundamental, the stepping stone, if you want to, that give me the inspiration for this feature come from Anna Ensingen, Adalex on Twitter. She wrote this module called Synchronous Worker that does the
Did you say Anna?
Anna, yeah, Anna.
Oh my God, I love Anna so much.
Yeah, me too.
She's so humble. She's so incredibly humble. I've been trying to get her kind of come on the show for a while. I gotta go.
I will insist. She's amazing.
She's brilliant.
And
I love you, Anna, if you're listening.
Yeah. And basically, that you can create this module enables you to create a full worker, like worker thread completely isolated from the rest of the Node.js for the rest of your main Node.js execution, but on the same thread and on the same event loop. So I can
Wait, so is
basically
it different execution contexts that are sharing, like,
the
can you
same
explain
event
that?
loop.
The same event
Yes.
loop, how, like, that's black magic right there.
Pretty
And
much.
so you're saying, so
Look,
is this leveraging V8's isolate
isolates. Yeah.
technology? Okay, okay. So interesting. That is some really black magic. I didn't even know that was a thing. So is this something that,
Look,
are they using this for atomics to support atomics in the browser as well? Like how, or is this just, a node
this
thing?
is just V8. Is just V8 isolates.
Okay.
Is just more or less the bits that you can already do. Is how Cloudflare workers are implementing certain things and so on and so forth.
What are
The
the
concepts
chances
are
of
not.
Oh,
They're
sorry.
not- this is not new.
What are the chances of something like that getting into Node Core? So,
Oh, that's my next step.
yeah.
So I'm just all of this is open, and Anna did the first implementation. I had to fork the module because I needed some modifications for my stuff to get through. But I would really love to get into Node Core because it's so powerful that it will be like
Yeah.
right now. In order to run Platformatic DB, it basically says if you don't have a compiler certain feature available for compiling this little bit of glue, C++ glue to make everything work. We need to we run with a polyfill that does some of it, but does the best that you can do with the tooletens. Okay, but the full experience is amazing. Get to figure out a few hard crashes, which are a lot of fun when your system have a very bad crash. In the
That
sense of
sounds cool.
the V8 crash, okay, like not another V8 crash. It's fun to debug. So no, that was very very interesting. It provides the core of the development experience for writing plugins, so that you have imagine NodeMon but instantaneous. So it's like I had to actually. It was so fast that I had to introduce a timeout because. I had to introduce 100 millisecond timeout because it was too fast.
Oh my
Like
God. And you're a fast typer. You're saying that. So it's like, oh my God, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Look,
That's awesome.
Something like that seems like it could even fix Jest.
It's actually yes.
And this is not a miracle worker, okay, Chris Hiller? Like this is
no,
like
no.
you're asking for too much now. Don't tempt the gods. Okay.
I'm serious.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, Jest and also all of the TypeScript like memory leaks, like everywhere.
Yeah. I will tell you about that. That TypeScript is on the.
Oh yeah,
on the
yeah.
path.
Let's talk about that. I wish Nick Nisi was on the show. He'd just like perk right up right now. Did somebody say TypeScript?
TypeScript.
I'm like not. I'm not on the fence about TypeScript. I totally get it. I see the benefits and all of that. I'm just, like I said, I just am more like pragmatic TypeScript. Like I'm not spending a ton of time on generics. I'm not going to spend a ton of time fighting TypeScript for use cases that are like inner deep interfaces. Like, I focus more on my public interfaces and places where it's touch points, So anyways, I'm team pragmatic TypeScript. But anyways, I'm tangenting. So Luca, I'm curious, like, before we get more into like the specifics of the functionality here, like, what's your role versus Matteo's role? Like, are you like CEO, CTO? Are you like co-CTO? Like, what's the dynamic here between the two of you?
Yeah, the dynamic is I'm the CEO and try to do the all Excel and more legal
all the
side,
PowerPoints.
where Matteo helps and leads the.
So you're building the business basically,
Yeah,
and he's focusing on the tech.
But we
Okay.
both kind of like
good
design the
partnership.
product and design the different features. Like I said, the product itself came out from experience that we shared together, and sharing architecture and ideas around that. So the product is kind of like very organically designed. But that's how kind of like we split. I'm more focusing on getting the engine to always have oil in and smoothly work and operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool. Okay, we'll have to talk about the business later. So back to the tech now. So Matteo, what else? What else can this thing do? So we have crazy, awesome, hot module reloading that's like instantaneous, basically, which is
Pretty much.
incredible. It's leveraging like under the hood, you know, black magic via V8.
Eh,
So yeah,
Pretty much. If it doesn't
yeah.
crash, pretty much. It seems
Yeah.
stable. We tried it heavily. It seems stable.
Is that like a
But
experimental feature for now? Is it like labeled
I
as
would
like
say, well, it's the wall of Platformatic DB. I would call it experimental. Okay. I just marked 0.1.0. So just to be clear, it's the first time this is seeing the light. We have been using ourselves in production for some of the commercial part of the business, which we are developing, which Luca is the person leading all of that. But the right now it's essentially the first time that we are exposing it to the wide world. So I expect a lot of bugs, which is exactly
So
what
it's still not V1, right? We haven't hit.
no, it's
okay.
I would say it needs a little bit of seasoning to get to a V1 type
Yeah.
of or general availability type of thing.
Right.
It's more of oh, we've built this. We would like some feedback, and we are looking for early users to help
Okay.
us out in debugging this and making sure this is great.
Okay, so we have this Platformatic DB, and there's an SDK on top of it that helps you manage your routes and requests and whatever else. And so, and what else? So, what else can this thing do?
So,
besides
well,
having
it is a bit.
developer?
You can take so Platformatic DB is like this. Is the SDK to some extent. You built it. You use it with your SQL database. So you can use it with SQLite. You can use it with Postgres. You can use it with MariaDB. You can use it with MySQL. You can
Cassandra?
use it. Well, you can't use it with Cassandra, unfortunately. I would, it's
Found a
right now.
hole.
Yeah.
Filing a bug. Filing a GitHub issue right now. No, I'm just kidding.
So you need we focused on
great.
SQL at the beginning for two reasons, and I want to reconnect on a little bit of what we talked about before. Okay, part of our challenge and what we want to solve is to empower developer in building backends, and this is essentially our call. And in fact, we see there is a huge amount of material out there right now on how to use SQL databases, how to use MySQL, how to use Postgres, how to use SQLite. There is massive amount of material, okay? Like 50 years worth of material on how to build SQL databases, okay? This is taught in every course, SQL, it's taught in all possible courses. And using SQL as the base, it's kind of the reason why, like one of the fundamental reasons, because most of the developers will know this stuff, okay? So they know that they can use the database. And it's, to some extent, is a little bit better from my point of view, or my use case, of just using ORM on top, because if you of your custom code, because if you use an ORM, you have the problem of, you're always passing through the ORM interface, right? While when you start developing stuff straight on top of the database by using plugins, you can actually write raw SQL, and that's what we recommend using. In fact, internally we use another project from another phenomenal developers that you should probably check. You should probably invite here. It's called @databases, and it's from Forbes.
Databases like ampersand databases. Is that like a Twitter handle or what is that?
Yeah. I'm pasting a couple of links now. So
okay, you don't have to do it live. We can.
Yeah, but you see, I
you.
Look,
Thank you for sharing them.
It is the link, okay, and it's amazing. Okay, it's an amazing library by Forbes. It is one another of the old Node.js people type of.
Did you say Forbes?
Forbes Lindsay.
Forbes Lindsay are the person. Okay, I thought you meant.
Yeah,
Forbes,
not the big one. Well, it's called the same.
Like the business magazine? What do they know about Node? Okay, got
it's
it.
Forbes Lindsay,
Yeah.
is one of the most. It's a very old Node.js author, npm author out there, and it's a great project. So and it supports all the database that I mentioned and more. So
Nice.
the,
Yeah.
the,
At databases.org, at
Yeah.
like atdatabases.org.
Yeah,
And then we'll put a
exactly.
show link in in our notes as well.
So in this way you can use your own SQL queries to build your own and all the top features of your databases. If you are building just ORM, okay, you are not. It's if you're using ORM, you're stuck to what the ORMs provide you. While we believe
Oh my
that
God, I hate ORMs. I am
I'm
team
really
no ORM.
pretty
I'm sorry.
much
I think that it's a really not worthwhile abstraction. I'm so sorry to say
Pretty
that.
much.
Like,
Pretty
it's
much.
like more headache than not. And then what happens is the ORM stops getting maintained sometimes, and then everyone's like, oh darn it, this is the end of life for this thing is in a year and a half. What are we gonna do? Like, come on, like no, it's like not even worth it. It's like your database is your gold. Like if why put something between you and the DB that is like crap and buggy and whatever and slow.
Pretty
Like,
much. So
I'm seriously.
if I need to write code, okay, I want just to write. I want to talk to my database directly,
Yeah,
and
I'm with you.
and that's the gist of the reason why we are using this tool and not other stuff that mediate between us and the database.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice from my. It was a pretty good good journey about this, and we hope to help all those developers that are coming into coming up from boot camps or they are juniors at
Yeah.
after university and so on and so forth, so that
Yeah.
they can be productive immediately.
Learn it the right
essentially.
way, and like it's also SQL is one of those things where it's like you learn it once, like learn once, write everywhere, use all the time. It's like Git and like it's like Bash. You just have to bite the bullet once, and you're gonna use it for the rest of your career. Like but also, is this a new library? How do I not know about this at databases.org?
Look,
I've been living
I
under a
don't
rock,
know.
clearly. Yeah,
It's been around for quite some time now, so it's.
this is the first time I've heard about it. And I think for me, what's exciting is like a few years ago was in that situation where like, some popular Postgres ORM was like going out of style and was like, heading end of life. And then like the whole company was freaking out, right? Like, so yeah, good to know. I'm good to know. So, but anywho, so back to Platformatic. So you have a sane, DB line of communication, no RRM, so it's fast and will scale for many use cases. So what else? Like what else is in the oven here that we're getting with this first release, and what's coming? What's coming soon? What's next?
So what's coming? I will leave what's coming to Luca. Okay. In this drop we have. It contains a very simple way to implement basic authentication. So you cannot spend time implementing basic authentication yourself. Essentially, use cases like can only or things like that. Ouch.
Oh yeah, you cut
Am I
out.
still alive?
Matteo. You are. We can hear you, but your face is frozen. Okay, you're back. Can you say something? Is he out of sync?
I crashed.
Okay, you want to restart? Just exit and come back in. I think that will work. I don't know. Let me just see how. If you've uploaded everything. Matteo.
The old good restart
Yeah.
solution.
I mean, luckily we have a local recording running.
When is the hard stop?
In 20 minutes.
Okay.
So we're good.
Hello.
Hey, you're back. You look good and you sound fine.
Yeah, good.
You have
Did
your
I crash
local recording
badly?
No, when you started talking about get and post, that's when you started to crash.
Okay, I cried.
You start there, and
Riverside UI crashed with me, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
I'm a really good tester. You see, I had the Riverside crash.
Yeah.
You all froze, and I actually checked the internet 3 times. Everything was working fine. So it was actually the
Yeah,
the-
Riverside. Yeah, Riverside has been buggy lately.
Uh,
Okay, do you remember what you were saying? Can you just repeat?
I was.
You said you're gonna leave what's next to Luca.
I'm gonna leave what's last. Okay, what we didn't talk yet. It's the basic authorization capabilities. So essentially, you can integrate Platformatic DB with your JWT authentication server, for example. So if you're using Auth0 or analog, you could just send the tokens to Platformatic DB and implement very basic role-based authorization,
Oh, nice.
role-based access control.
That's another big one that's usually like tricky and most people get wrong.
Yeah,
Oh my God. What is
pretty
up with
much
that
like.
though? Everybody messes this up. It's so like,
Oh, it's everywhere. It's everybody
like,
messes
yeah.
this up.
Geez.
So we
In the
we
UI
focused on.
and in the API, like both implementations are always messed up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
We are not talking about the UI, okay?
Yeah, yeah, I know. But I mean,
I am as bad as front-end developers dash designers that you can probably get. So I was fighting last night in order to get the website out, and I literally Googled up how do I hide an HTML element.
Oh, that's so
So that-
hilarious. Actually, you know what? I saw you use Doxorus. That is so cool. Isn't Doxorus amazing? Like,
Yeah, it is.
have them on the show
These
sometime. Yeah.
these latest release, they done these 2.0 release. This 2.0 release is actually amazing. It's not it overcomes all the previous bits that I didn't
Yeah.
like about Docusaurus. So there was quite a few bits that were quite a few parts of the workflow that were not great before. And this 2.0 release, they actually cracked a very hard problem, which is the multi-version setup. And we did an interesting integration with GitHub Actions,
Oh,
so that whenever we release on the main project, it gets its documentation are lifted from there, copied into the Docusaurus website, and committed by itself. So all of this happens behind the
very
scene.
cool.
And so
That's so
it's
cool.
frozen, and we don't need to maintain multiple versions on the docs on the current tree. So because that's a problem.
That's revolutionary.
It enables this kind of
Revolutionary.
workflows.
Yeah,
It's
that's so cool.
and I'm very happy about the setup. The build is not fast, but we'll
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, yeah, you can't have it all. We can't have it all. But anyway, so that sounds really exciting. So you've solved the role-based access, permission-based access problem. Like you've built in some good conventions and standards and good rails there. That's exciting. And so, I mean, there's just like so much to dig into. Like I can't, I'm eager to hear about what's next. I'm eager to hear about the business plan. I'm eager to hear about what's your plan to like make money.
It's on Luca. I have been. I've
And yeah,
been
eager
so
to hear about your-
interested in shipping this that I completely more or less got into my hole and coded on my keyboard. A couple of things of what's next. Next week we are going to NodeConf. So or next week or this week. I don't know when this is.
Yeah,
you are
well, the
listening
show's
to this.
dropping next week. Yes. So
Next
this
week. So next week. So this week on Sunday we are heading to like this.
I don't even know. I'm like, this is like
uh,
I've been in so many shows lately where there's some time warp. It's like
time
it's
warp. We are a time
this is
warp.
adding to the time warp. Yeah. So this week on Sunday, in a few days
On
from
Sunday,
when this show
in a few
drops,
days, in a few days, we will head to Kilkenny for NodeConf EU. That NodeConf EU, we will be a workshop, Platformatic DB. So
oh, fancy. Fancy.
that. So essentially, we will be there promoting this. Then we will be around talking about Platformatic in November.
Wearing t-shirts, giving away
in London.
stickers.
Giving away t-shirts. You see, we have t-shirts. You see,
Yeah.
that's the important part. We have t-shirts.
Yes.
We have stickers.
Yes.
I have stickers. You see, I have stickers.
Yeah.
I also have some
priorities
nice
are
nice
all
swag.
correct for Platformatic DB, honestly. Who needs who needs API features when, really like you have cool stickers? So, but anyway, so we're going to get into all this stuff and more, the business, the open sourcing strategy, roadmap of what's next, all that in our last segment. So we'll be right back, y'all. Okay, cool. So we have 15 minutes until we have a hard stop. So let's just like roll right in. Anybody need a break or anything?
No.
Okay, so Chris,
Can
you kick us off.
Going.
I want to hit the licensing stuff, and I want to hit the business, like the whole business strategy and monetization. So, I mean, obviously you don't have to ask that in one question, but I'm just saying if you want to run with it, I'll just jump in and be chatty so I can relax. All right, Chris, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Lucas, so can you tell us more about Platformatic, the business? So what is your, like, what's coming next? How do you plan to actually make money?
Yeah, that's well, we're not gonna, like in every good Michelin star restaurant, we give you a little.
We're not
bit of
gonna spill our secrets, the
the
secret sauce.
plating and make you a little bit, more hungry. But so we are actually gonna progress into a broader kind of vision and product. Our first step is to work towards our cloud proposition, which is not like yet another AWS. We just want to actually provide a simple way, an easy way for developers to kind of like test outside of their own machine what they're building. And from there, we actually imagine that journey shouldn't stop. Developers should be able to have a first entry to the open world, where they can test their API, then a way to scale it, and a way to integrate within their own organization. Because we imagine that the journey is a multi-step journey, right? A crawl, walk, run approach. We try to reverse it. We try to let them run as fast as they can, then walk and slow down into the crawling when we touch compliancy and other kind of enterprise level requirements. But our progression in terms of the overall strategy is going to be around our.
We'll host your shit, basically, right? To sum it up.
Host your shit.
We will
Yeah.
host your shit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
Not
then
quite
we help you
exactly
scale it.
that, but like, yes.
Yeah.
In summary. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like the
that's
Purcell
actually
strategy, right? Is like open source the core,
correct.
and we'll give you a whole bunch of really awesome, even better developer experiences and cloud integrations with your deployment
Correct.
pipeline. Like very strategic and solid strategy, dude. Like high five from me.
Yeah, until you land into the enterprise.
Oh, Mega,
proposition,
enterprise
which
is hard to please though. Enterprise, they always want bespoke solutions. Like it doesn't
Correct.
matter. They're always like, no, our problems are different, we swear, but they're actually not. Like I just
They
think
are
it's
actually
just
all
part
the
of their.
same.
They're all the same, I swear to God, it's the worst. And I think
tell
what's interesting
them.
about enterprise is, I think for them, I think I'm eager to see if this ever happens in the business world, where they really start to understand the value is in your business logic and you're not in where your APIs live, what stack you're using. It's about how quickly can you execute and how much agility do you have to pivot with the market. And they need to understand, like, there's a cost to having a bunch of your engineer. Like, you have 100 engineers. Out of those 100 engineers, if 60% of their time is spent doing basic stuff that can be outsourced, then like imagine how much stuff you can unlock in terms of your business being agile, And so that's something that needs to happen, and it's just not happening. I'm like, I hope Platformatic will be part of that strategy, but it's just a gap. It's a serious gap because for me, it's a form of talent waste. Like I see a lot of smart people doing things that are not that exciting anymore, And it's like, come on, man, like we solved this problem 20 years ago. Why are we solving it again here, So
Correct. And that's Amal, exactly our strategy. Our strategy is exactly to tap into that exact problem and give us a solution, this kind of out of the box experience. And the issue with the enterprise and that kind of like we notice and we experience is that like you were saying, right? Nothing is new there. How can we actually value more the investment that the enterprise does to create value for their customers,
Yes.
more than actually trying to actually spend a huge amount of OpEx capital
Yeah.
into
Oh yeah.
operating something that
That can be
fundamentally.
bought. That can be bought.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
we need to shift the standards for build versus buy. Like,
Correct.
what's it, what's his name? Posley, Maisley, what's that guy with the charts? I forget. You know what I'm talking about? The charts. There's some famous guy with charts. Okay, fine. We can cut this out the show. But
Every
okay.
famous guy has a
So
chart.
yeah. Anyways,
Soon we're also gonna have
Mosley
a chart.
charts. I don't remember. Anyways, okay. So we'll cut this out. But so basically we need to shift where build versus buy. We need to
Yeah.
shift the line in the sand a little bit more. And I
But
feel
there,
like Platformatic is helping.
yeah,
Hopefully
and but there
elevate
is
that.
actually a perception problem there, right? In build versus buy, and Matteo and I have been also there. Like for engineers, when you hear we buy something, you feel like if your brain power has been diminished to something like an implementation, right?
Yeah.
And we actually want to kind of like completely flip the equation completely there and say, no, actually the buy is mostly a buy-in into certain practices, certain out of the
Interesting.
box, and try to actually
Oh, right.
also explain.
Outsourcing your brain power to some degree.
Correct,
That
exactly.
like
It's just
here's I'm gonna
redirecting.
follow this thought leadership. Yeah.
Exactly,
Makes sense.
exactly. It's all about kind of like also
Fascinating.
redirecting energy in something that is more valuable. Like, let's be very honest. Building a logging system, I don't find it personally challenging. It's nice to solve it at scale the first time, and then it's like, okay, copy paste, right?
Yeah, basically
Distributed systems,
Auth Zero's entire business strategy is
yeah,
like
but
everybody
distributed systems,
outsources.
if you think, they are actually kind of like they have nuances that are nice to solve, but then once that you solve them, you can apply them everywhere. And
Yeah.
so one thing that we actually are going to accomplish with Platformatic without revealing the secret ingredients, we actually wanted to try to abstract away the operational side of building APIs and also kind of like the complexity of, for example, managing the team that builds APIs. So we actually are focusing mostly on how can we actually make sure that people focus only on that business logic, and the rest, it's out of the box. It's a given. Matteo and I always use this term. It's a given. It's there. It's just like use it, right? Don't question it too much.
So you're
But
planning
make it
to
still composable, right? Because it has to be composable for the different environments.
so you're planning to build stuff out like I don't know, load balancing and all those, orchestration and all that junk that
Uh,
people want.
yeah, so uh, kinda. I mean, I've been personally, right, very vocal on at the time about Service Mesh when it was just the beginning of exploding. And I always then started calling it a little bit of a lie to developers because it's a great story for operators, but developers, they don't get any direct benefit out of that. So we actually want to bring that equation back to be favorable for developers. So we are actually trying to build in our vision there is to build some sort of let's call it a runtime that is some sort of like a kernel to these applications, and then start to replicate itself, in the different, distributed applications, distributed teams. So we actually imagine that the ultimate abstraction is something that will be able to run this business logic more than produce the business logic.
Cool. So also, I wanted to ask about, like, it seems it's not just you two, right? You have
Yeah, it's
others.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
'Cause
have,
I
we have a
noticed
small
more
team.
more contributors on the project than just
Yeah.
you two. So,
Yeah.
are you looking to are you like what 5 people now, or are you looking to grow?
Something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
No, we are just we are just there. So we are not looking to grow and anything else. Actually, I just wanted to thank all the people that have worked on on this journey so far, believing on two wild Italians that and you jump on a new company and so on. It's been a huge leap of faith from everybody. So
Well, I mean, I would imagine that you probably will have the best like staff meeting food part and just best office parties, like, right? Like the food's always going to be great. And
look, we don't have an office, so it is bit. We don't have an office. We don't have an office. We don't have an office. Some of us have never met in
met in
person.
person. Okay, but that is a freaking cool story though, right? Like a true modern company. Like y'all are working remotely in the open. And some of you haven't even met. Like that,
Yeah.
I mean, that is like for me just like the cherry on top of the story, like fascinating. It's like you're pushing things forward in many ways. So do you feel like Platformatic is going to be beloved and kind of embraced by startups initially, right? Because like startups are the ones that are always more open to like what can we do to quickly ramp up, right? Like they're the ones that really need that true agility
Oh,
and they need to catch up on their engineering, help.
let
So
me
is it a
let me
startup
take this.
project?
Let me take this, Luca. First of all, and this is I don't care too much about startups.
Oh
What I
no,
care
don't
about
say that
is
out loud.
what I
We have to cut this off the show. No, no,
no.
no.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
They're bread
Because
and butter, Matteo. Like everybody has a
what?
customer and they don't always need to love
Yes,
them. They just need to love
yes.
their money, right?
No, I deeply love developers. Okay, the
Okay.
fundamental
I
great
know
part
that. You do. Yeah.
is that I deeply love developers. I
Yes.
want them to have the best experience that they can have, and
Right.
of course we want to serve startup at their best. Okay, but first and foremost, at least in this initial phase of our company, what we want is to help developers get off the ground, help them deliver software very quickly, and of course help companies that wants to adopt this, help startups, help medium small shops, okay, small agencies, help all the companies that need these kind of tools the most.
Yeah, there's a big
But
need.
there is a big need for this kind of stuff, so we
Oh
are
yeah.
happy to receive all the feedback and incorporate all the feedback into our product.
Yeah.
So, but that's me. Luca will tell
No,
you that he's all in for the
just to
clients.
add,
So,
right? For us, it's very important that we are taking out of context the problem. And we go back to your point, Amal, that was before, right? We are looking at problems in a very, abstracted and lateral way. So, and we actually believe that the context on which this problem is going to be operated changes certain variables of that operation, but shouldn't change the solution, right? Authentication, authorization are exactly the same for a startup with 2 people running
Yeah.
whatever application to a 100,000 people organization. Is
Yes.
the
Yeah.
problem is that, and I go back to my best friend Einstein, is the observation point, right? Where you observe this problem from. That's what changes the equation of that solution. And for us, we actually want to try to change that total misconception and say, well, authentication and authorization are exactly the same. It's just that you need different type of scales and different probability requirements, but the holistic problem is exactly the same. And so
Yeah.
with Platformatic DB, that's how we actually started this journey, right, towards our cloud. And we said, any developers that needs to use a database, ourselves included, to build our own product, has these requirements. So let's go back to first principles, build it up, and stack upon, stack upon, stack upon. But it's always about the context. That's why we believe that it works on my machine. It's something that we want to make true. It works on my machine. It works on your cloud. It works on our cloud with no changes. That's our promise. That's our ultimate goal, is that we want to have this runtime, this atomic application to run everywhere with no changes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. My cat just meowed. She's stuck in my office. I have a new cat, everyone. I don't know if that came, I don't know if anyone heard that. But anyways, that's incredible. And is your license like is it everything MIT license?
So we have an
it's
Apache
Apache
license.
2.
Ah, cool.
Apache 2.
Apache too. Okay, interesting. Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this future. I'm here for it. We've had a huge need in the community, as you know. I'm really eager to hear, before we close the show, like, when was the first commit for problematic? Oh my God.
I made this mistake too in a video.
You called it problematic too. I was like, what the hell? Where did this word problematic even come from? You've been calling it problematic DB. Okay. When was the first commit for Platformatic, and like when was the first handshake for both of you? Like, I'm just curious because Matteo said June earlier, and I'm like, damn, like if y'all created a company and a concept in 4 months, like I'm like, do I need to quit my job? I don't know. Like, this is so cool. Like, I'm so impressed. I'm not gonna quit my job if anybody's listening. Don't worry.
Yeah,
So
it's the handshake, Amal, was actually extremely easy. We as friends, we have been chatting, we have been sharing a lot of thoughts, and we actually and shook and we kind of came to an agreement that it was the right journey to start. I think it was the end of April, beginning of May when we first started to be very, very serious about it. So that was kind of like there when we started to say, well, probably we need to take the
Yeah.
leap.
yeah,
And,
we need to incorporate, and we need to create a company and quit
Oh,
our jobs
yeah.
to get this
Yeah,
going. Like
all
we
the
need to get this done now.
Yeah,
We,
yeah, all the
we,
logistics, yeah, need to come later. Okay. No,
we
that
need. Yeah, that's the gist essentially. Like it was very late. I was um, I was on a 2 week trip on vacation for 2 weeks with my family, doing a road trip with our kid in the south of France. And in the meanwhile, I was during the day I was doing all the family activities and stuff, and during the nights I was reviewing documents for the company with all the incorporation stuff and so on and so forth with Luca. It was quite a wild ride at that point in time.
uh,
So yeah.
yeah, super cool. Well, again, so where can people find you online? Where can they continue learning about the project? You're going to be at NodeConf.eu this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there will be a recorded platform, a workshop. Sorry, there'll be a recorded workshop that folks can listen to and watch. But what's your website? What's your handle? What's all your stuff?
It's our website is platformatic.dev, and you can find us there. That's the company website. All the open source stuff are at oss.platformatic.dev, or you can find us at the you
GitHub
can find
org.
us on Twitter at Platformatic, or you can just simply npm I Platformatic, and you're good.
Yeah,
So
all the
that
things.
all the things, all
Yeah,
the
and Matteo,
things.
you have a cool newsletter too. I'd love to plug that for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, if you want
No,
to listen to the wisdom of Matteo Collina, who's like a wonderful teacher and very generous with all of
thank you.
his knowledge. He's on the Node Technical Steering Committee. He's a huge open source contributor and maintainer. He's awesome. Someone I think everyone from our community should be learning from, to be honest. But yeah, do you want to tell us about your newsletter?
Nodeland.dev.
Nodeland.dev, and we'll put a link in our show notes. So with that said, kids, we are wrapping this show up. I'm super excited. Can't wait to try it. Definitely going to use this for my next few projects to play around with it. And it was really great spending time with you both, Luca and Matteo. I think it's
Thank
safe
you.
to say ciao.
absolutely.
Ciao.
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 Ciao, everybody.
Ciao,
Ciao,
ciao.
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 Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao, Ma.
Okay. Luke is gone.